Welcome to another Plat Chat interview. This time, me and Jake, we're sitting down with the SSG boys. It's Backbone, it's FunnyAstro, fresh from a 4-hour scrim block, preparing for Stockholm against the toughest opponents in the EMEA. How are we feeling, guys? Starting with you, Backbone.
I think feeling pretty good. The meta's a bit weird right now, like trying to figure out exactly what to play. But I think we've got enough time to figure it out to be completely safe. I'm not worried.
Yeah, FunnyAstro?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I just play Juno and sit at the back of the map and heal people for 4 hours a day every day.
Okay, so what's the deal? What's the deal with the meta? I've been seeing NA as well. NA are just like, there's just Orisa mirrors but Widowmaker, and so there's not a ton going on. Is it the same in EMEA?
I don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean we're the oddballs because we're the ones that play May. So Widow is always good into May, but I don't know if it's like everywhere in EU like it is in NA apparently. But honestly, I'm not even. I don't know. I'm not sure what's meta at this point.
We only just started scrimming properly today, so we don't really know what is happening yet. Everyone's just playing mystery heroes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how the meta develops then. I mean, there might be a few balance patches in between. So, but you said you just started scrim again, so you've had quite a bit of a break then. Like, what are your practice plans going into Stockholm? You just started now. You got like 3.5 weeks or so left until the event.
Yeah, I reckon 3.5 weeks is enough. I think we struggled finding scrims last week because this is the last tournament of the year, so there's no reason for anyone else to really scrim. So it's just going to be like us and ENCE playing against each other. And Twisted, I guess.
Yeah, but Twisted
all day, every day.
Twisted
on scrimming right now, so impossible to practice. I think a couple of the NA teams are coming to Europe for boot camp, so things will pick up then, and then maybe we'll do like 3 block a day and start going a little harder. But for now, we're just chilling, taking it easy.
Are you guys going to do any kind of like early trip to Stockholm, or since you guys are already in Europe, just kind of like show up for the tournament? Since
I think we're just showing up. We don't have a boot camp or anything. I think there's just no need.
It's kind of a waste when you get your region tournament, right? You don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do you feel about going up against the Korean teams? Because I remember after Dallas, there was some talk about like the scrim bubble. The scrim bubble is real. You know, you want to practice the Korean teams more and more, but it seems like they're staying around in Korea last time. Because before Dallas, correct me if I'm wrong, they came to like the US like a couple of weeks, few weeks before, right? They want to adjust to the time zone and everything. But this time around, it seems like they're staying in Korea for most of the time. It might be similar this time around, but like, is there some kind of like, you'd really like to get some scrims in against, obviously Falcons and Crazy Raccoon, just to like see how they play this meta, and just to like assess your strength, I suppose, because they are the 2 best teams, undoubtedly.
It would be nice. Would be nice to scrim them, but if they're not boot camping here, we don't really get a choice. So we're just going to be stuck in our bubble, and then we get to play matches and see whose bubble is better.
Yeah, the scrim bubble goes both ways. If ours is better, then I mean, you see what happens in World Cup, right? I mean, World Cup, they're in Asia playing dive nonstop. Dive isn't good. They still make it all the way to finals because they're them, but it can swing the other way.
I feel like you gotta tell though from the Asia main event because they were also mainly playing Orisa kind of compositions and this Juno Brig, and it seems like we're kind of hard stuck to some extent in this meta. So like, would you hope for like, it's interesting with SSG, interesting with you guys as well. Like, is this kind of like a meta you would want for Stockholm, or are you kind of like praying that there's no balance changes, or would you want to see some changes?
This meta.
Yeah,
this meta is so good for us. It's like, I think for the London core especially, they're really good at all the macro stuff, and all of these big mirror comps where it's always just the same 5 heroes. You can really crack it down and just have like perfect ult plans, perfect fight plans, and just follow theory. And we just use theory to win it. It's pretty much what we did against ENCE in the finals.
If it's the same 5 heroes, we've got it. We've got it down.
Yeah.
Just don't press H and we're fine.
Yeah. Make it easy.
Do you guys think like your approach playing the May, where it seems like, I mean, across other regions especially, we've seen more and more teams like go to the Genji style much more consistently, I think. Do you think that gives you guys like an upper hand? Because, I think it's my experience in other metas of like, if you're the team that is a little bit weird, you get used to playing against what is like the standard default for others, but no one can prep as easily for what you do since you're the odd man out. Have you found that in like scrims and matches, or do you think is that something you think about, or do you guys just sort of believe everyone is making a mistake not mirroring you?
I think in EU with ENCE, like majority of our scrims in stage 4 were against ENCE anyway, right? So I don't think they were surprised by us being on May or anything. You know, I think they got more than enough practice. I think the May version's really good. I don't think anyone should mirror really, like unless they have a May player. But even then, most if you look at the Koreans that can play May, most of them are probably better at Genji anyway. But I don't know. I mean, the May style is. I think it's better than the Genji one personally. But I mean, I'm obviously going to think that. I kind of have to think that, or else, or else there's no point. But I think in Europe at least, like there wasn't a case of teams not being able to be ready for us because we're only just scrimming the same few teams the entire time.
Yeah, I'm curious. You know, I can't remember if we asked you on broadcast, but there was a bit of a shift from the upper bracket finals against ENCE in stage 4, and then obviously the grand finals, right? What were kind of like the talks and adjustments you made between those two matches, Grants?
I don't think it was anything big. I think it was just like a couple of small mistakes, a couple of alt plan fixes, and then we just played better on the day. I think our scrims before that weekend of matches had been like really swingy, so it'd be like we win one scrim, they win one scrim. I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly.
I thought towards leading up to it, I thought we were winning everything towards the end.
I think like, at the start it was way more swingy because they just like we would change one bit of our theory, then they would change something, then we would change something. We just happened that it felt like it just swung in our favor on grand finals day, and I choked a bit in the match.
Yeah,
you know, it's interesting for you two in EU because it really does feel like, at least for the last, 3 stages, maybe not stage 1, but it really has been, you know, ENCE and SSG are like destined for the finals, destined for the grand finals, right? Like, you know, whether you win or not in the upper bracket final almost doesn't matter since it's like so likely you'll rematch again. You know, does that, and then them also obviously probably being your guys' best, most preferred scrim partner in the region for that exact reason. Is that an interesting dynamic that's played out through the year? I'm sure you guys like all know each other on the teams and everything. As far as like, is there like mind games? I mean, how deep does it go when it comes to like you have one real key opponent that you're gonna face, you're gonna face in the tournament, but is also, you know, the scrim partner that keeps you at that level, right? Like, how's that dynamic play out in scrims and for you guys to practice?
At the start of the year, it was so toxic. Like, it was unbelievably toxic. Like, I will never forget. We're just playing Junkertown, and both teams, everyone is just stood still typing in match chat.
Yeah.
Like, no one's even playing. I think
the most insane map I've ever seen, actually. Like, there was just constant like lulls in comms because no one's actually paying attention to the game. We're paying attention to what's happening in chat. I was on the bench and I was catching strays. Like, it was insane.
Yeah, it started pretty toxic, but I think after Gumba left and they've it's not the same ENCE that it was at the start of the year, you know? There's only like 2 people who were on that roster. It's only Kevin Kai. Everyone else has changed or subbed out. I think Vest maybe since the start of the year. I'm not sure, but
was Vest at the start?
I thought he was. Am I crazy? Or
maybe he was.
Maybe he was, but
he's finished.
So trying to run back the World Cup team, right? So
yeah,
it was Masa and Ghost 91.
It was Masa, Ghost, like Vest, Cloudy, right?
Yeah, that could have been it. That could have been it. Feels like an eternity ago.
A million years ago.
Yeah.
But now it's way more functional as a scrim relationship, you know? We both just show up to scrims. We know that we're always going to be like the best scrim that each of us get, so it works well.
I think post stage 2 is when it died down. Like after that grand finals, like the 4-3, I think that's when the toxicity kind of died off.
Does a grudging respect develop, or you're like, all right, you guys are good?
I don't know about that.
Wouldn't call it respect. I'd call it acceptance.
Yeah, it's not as if it still doesn't come out, you know. Like they were still typing during this grand finals, mainly from us because we forward, but it still exists a bit, just not to the same extent as it was that first half of the year.
Yeah, they seem like a very chill team. Like they're kind of just, you know, they're competing in Overwatch Esports and like there's not much else to it. You know, I don't know how much those guys stream, but you know, they keep it low key and they're just kind of like play the game, participate in tournaments and do their ENCE thing, you know, and they're a strong meta in stage 3 and now stage 4, you know, it fits you guys a little bit better. So they seem pretty low key. I said this in a different interview. I think they'll have a great fan turnout in Stockholm because ENCE is such a popular brand there. So I'm looking forward to see like how many ENCE fans there actually are there. Do you think you'll have a lot of SSG fans turning up in Stockholm rooting for EMEA?
I think we'll have a whole stage of Hattie fans.
Yeah, we've got like the most personable player from EU, like the one that's the fan favorite. So.
And there are like rarely events in EMEA either, or like historically.
This is the first one since 2019, I think.
Was that the French
maybe like
World Cup qualifier or something like that? Yeah. That was rabid. Like that was insane. I remember those fans. The French fans were great.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I kind of wanted to zoom out here, unless Jake, you had anything. You know, we'll visit Stockholm and stuff.
For the fans, you know, for the chatty fans coming in to Stockholm, hoping to get a little taste of that sweet, sweet Rhine. Do you think there's any chance? Is there any specialty? You know, you don't have to tell us the map situation, but is there anything cooking? I mean, this seems like a pretty rough meta for the Rhine special. But
we played Rhine in grand finals.
It's true.
There's always a chance.
It's always on the table.
It's always on the table. Understood. I'm sure folks will be happy to hear.
Yeah, I mean that was just an insane swap. I mean, you go over to what is now old Sombra, by the way. That was old Sombra. They removed
I miss her already.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's probably because it's old Sombra. New Sombra is looking a little
sus. Awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful.
At least at the high level play. I think like maybe there's more adaptation for average players, but at the really high level, it feels like EMPing is so much more difficult than it used to be. It's like it's kind of a big problem.
You've been trying it a lot.
We tried it a little bit. Yeah, we tried it. It's so useless. It's terrible. It's just terrible. Like you're like an assassin hero that's meant to get in on backline, but to get in on backline, you have to use your escape ability that isn't even like good at escaping because you just go like 2 meters in front of it. It's terrible hero.
Yeah, you're supposed to be this flanky character, and you have one movement ability, and it's like you look at all these other heroes, right? And they're very mobile. Sometimes they have 2 movement abilities. You know, one go in mechanic and then one get out kind of card.
Also, it's also awful because we figured out how to do the Sombra into Widow on last patch. We had it fixed, and then they ruin it, and now Widow's getting played again, which is just boring. No one likes playing against Widow.
Yeah, that seems to be.
Sombra was doing the honest hard work of keeping Widow out of my games, and
exactly,
you know it's gone now. We miss old Sombra. We didn't know what we were losing.
Yeah, it's actually a huge pain point for a lot of people. Like the amount of people I've been seeing crying about Widow, and like, you know, fair enough if you don't like playing against a one-shot hero like Widowmaker, fair enough. But it seems to actually be a pretty huge problem. You know, the fact that they patched Sombra up. So I don't think we need to go more into that. But I do kind of want to zoom out and talk about the year that's been, of course. So just in general, you know, what has it been like competing in Overwatch Esports in 2024, you know, compared to the Overwatch League? What were expectations going into the year, and, you know, what has it been looking like these past 11 months?
I mean, I expected
10 months.
No, 10 months.
I expected nothing after OWL ended. I expected like the bare minimum, no esport, like that's it. Everything from there would be community run. Kind of happy that OWCS came out. It's almost ideal, I think, for a lot of players who are older. Living at home is so much nicer than having to live abroad, and I would always choose that option. I don't want to go back to living in LA. I didn't particularly enjoy it, so I mean that's just a huge benefit. Obviously, the money is a lot worse than it used to be, but it's been fun.
Yeah. How do you like the format in general? You said you're kind of happy that OWCS is a thing, but, you know, it's still 4 stages, which we had for most of the time in Overwatch League. It's 4 stages still, a couple of LAN events. Is there anything about the format in particular you dislike, or is there any you just like it in general? You think it's a pretty good format overall?
I think the format's great. I don't know, like, what I would change about it.
I don't think there is anything to change about it.
Yeah. People can cry about the circuit point system, but I think it works like almost
its job.
I don't know how you do that better.
Yeah, exactly. It incentivizes teams to stick together throughout the year. It has weeded out the 3 best teams from each region, so I'm not really sure what people would change about it. 2 LANs is amazing for the state of Overwatch. I don't think we can ask for a lot more than that.
Have you guys been playing in the FACEIT Leagues at all alongside this, or are you guys pretty much just sticking to OWCS?
Yeah, we won them both.
Yeah, we played both the FACEIT Leagues. I don't think we're playing the next one,
We're not playing
just
next one.
because.
Yeah, the third one is underway.
Is it after the? Is it after the?
It's
the
after
CS
Stockholm,
is over?
yeah.
So are you guys planning to like take a little off season there, waiting for the next OWCS season to start?
I mean, yeah, we don't know what happens
Without
next year.
knowing
We
what's
have
gonna
no
happen.
clue.
No one knows.
I think our contracts end sometime around there, so
Yeah, contracts are like December, like for everybody, I think. Like,
Yeah.
not just us. Like,
so
I think
everyone's just going to be
December
sat around
contracts.
waiting
Kind
to
of
see what happens at that point. I don't think
Watch
anyone
and
wants to
wait. So
play
you
in the
need
FACEIT League.
basically needing more info to like be
Yeah,
able to say
exactly.
what's
Yeah.
coming for your team for players. That makes sense. I think that's what we've heard from a lot of players we talked to interviews is like that the point of like just not knowing what next year is going to be like and
Yeah.
wanting to get more information out. So hopefully there'll be more information that can come out soon and hopefully people can get a little bit more security with that because I totally agree. Like if you don't know, like you can't really commit to anything. You can't, and the teams aren't gonna like keep people on contract without actually knowing that there's gonna be
exactly.
events.
Just going to be sat
tournaments.
around at Christmas waiting to see if I've got a job for next year or not.
Yeah, we'll see if you can open and find something under the Christmas tree or not, or lump
Yeah.
of coal.
Yeah, stage 1 this year, it started at the start of March, of course, but we had a little Christmas event, last year, if people remember
there was
that.
the flash ups. That was really good.
Yeah, that was great. I love those kind of like holiday vibes, right? But if we have to go without tournaments for like December, January, February, like quickly you start thinking about like, okay, what's my career in actuality? Like,
I mean, yeah,
we're just sitting around for 3 months, 4
if there's
months.
no tournament for 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, no team is going to keep paying people. This isn't Overwatch League anymore.
Yeah,
I don't
It's
think
also
we can
not as if,
expect
it's
that.
not as if most teams are even getting paid like a decent like amount of money compared to our, I think it's what Toronto, Falcons, Crazy Raccoons are the only ones making anywhere near our money. I think everyone else is like we're making money. I'm very happy we're making money, but it's nothing compared to like the our salaries. Like it's nowhere near.
Yeah. I count yourself lucky if you have some kind of income in the scene now these days.
Yeah.
I mean, we're incredibly lucky. We've got one of the nicest orgs. Like we've got it way better than most of the other teams in the system, I think.
And we just get to play Overwatch all day. And that's pretty
that
chill.
too. That also makes it pretty lucky.
Yeah. Talking more about FACEIT League, you obviously participated this year. How was that experience for you guys? I mean, obviously, I think it's been a pretty core part of the scene as a whole because it gives that consistent feeling. Like there's matches happening every week. There's this kind of like, I don't know what you want to call it, group play, league play, where like all the teams are playing each other, right, qualifying for the main event. And so it gives some kind of consistency. You can tune in to Commander X and he's streaming, here's SSG and ENCE playing each other on a Wednesday or randomly like that, right? So it's a bit of a shame that it's not promoted on the main broadcast, but it feels like it's something that's hugely important to you guys. It's some kind of like competition. Obviously, you're not playing in the current season 3, but throughout this year, it felt like some kind of competitiveness going on like throughout every week, even if OWCS wasn't there.
I think it's awkward because it is nice to have those like extra matches, but at the same time, there are so many terrible matches that aren't streamed because we had to play, I think in season 1 we had to play like 16 teams, or there's 16 teams at the start. So we have to play 15 matches throughout the season, and maybe like 3 of them are competitive. But we still have to show up for like 13 games where we just have to stomp people for 2 or 3 maps straight, and it's a bit of a time sink for us. The playoffs I enjoyed. I would be happier if it was just like less of a regular season thing and just straight playoffs bracket. But like I'm not sure how they'd fix that with the format.
There's like too high a skill disparity between like the top teams, and like if you compare the top 8 EU teams to the bottom 8, it's just like it's an objective waste of time for like the top 8 to be playing them, which has been the worst part of FACEIT, I'd say. But like the playoffs have always been fun, and like the Swiss stage games you get against the other like good teams are fun to play as well. Like that's always like it is nice when you get to like play ENCE again, or you get to play VP or TM or anybody. But like when you're showing up and you're playing against like Billy Bob off his 9 to 5, like it's just you just feel like you're wasting everyone's time, Like,
I wonder if they could look into like either an auto qual, like based on like if you're whatever the top 4 teams of the playoffs season 1 are like auto qualled the playoffs season 2, and then there's a league play to be the other 4 teams.
That's something I'd hope for.
Similar in
more of a
OWCS,
tournament format versus
exactly.
where you
if you finish top 4,
where Swiss you actually play Timmy and Jimmy in the Swiss.
Yeah, well, FACEIT, they have all these different skill brackets, right? There's Master, Expert, Advanced, Open. And it just feels like, even watching OWCS as well, I feel like, we have 4 groups of 4, that's 16 teams, but I think the sad reality is that, like, I don't think the regions, EMEA and NA, are, like, deep enough to, like,
It's just not enough
warrant
talent,
having 16 teams like that in top competition, I feel like.
I think it's also kind of an esports thing, like across every esport, right? Like find me an esport where the top, whatever it is, 4 to 8 teams in the region aren't drastically above like
Counter-Strike.
the next set. Yeah, maybe Counter-Strike, but even CS, like, I don't know, like it's like this, at least there's like a few, I guess that's true. There's a few teams that break through every year. It's like a little bit more.
You just need such a big player base for the skill level to be that close. And I mean, it's so unfair because, like, in EMEA, there's always the top 4 teams, and if anyone else like breaks into the top 4 or 5, then it's like a massive upset, because the top 4 or 5 teams, we're all playing the game full time. We get to sit here and queue ranked and stream and then play scrims every day. But everyone else, like, there's just not enough money for them to play full time, so they have to have a job or go to uni or do something else if they can't sink the same hours that we can into it. So it's going to be so hard for them to catch us.
Collegiate has become like a really big thing in NA, with like a lot of even like some of the top NA players playing for college teams on the side or pursuing college esports like as their main focus, not worrying about OWCS as much. Is that something that you guys have seen or heard much in Europe? I mean, I'm just more familiar with the American scene, but I'm just curious if that's something.
There's no collegiate scene.
Interesting. So there's not really like.
I mean, the EU players go to the NA collegiate scene. Like,
yeah. Okay.
We lose players like Lethal, and pretty sure there's a few others that have hopped across. But
yeah, Maimona's been playing in collegiate, right?
Yeah, he's in one of the.
I don't know if he is anymore.
Or what?
He's
He
in
was.
America. I think he is, but not sure.
I would do that if we had that in 2016. I would have totally like played collegiate. I mean, it just seems incredibly, OP, lack of a better
high
word.
value,
Just like
right?
you get a degree. Well, you get a high value degree while playing Overwatch. It seems like a good thing. Obviously, you have to study and everything. You don't get it for free on a platter, but still, it seems like a great deal. So you never even considered just like, oh, I'd like to go over to like study and like get a degree like that. You're just kind of like, it's not for me.
Don't know how transferable a US degree is to a UK jobs.
Well, well, it depends on the job, I suppose, but I don't know. I don't know actually, frankly, but all right.
I mean, I don't know, but I wouldn't gamble 3 years of my life to find out, I think.
Yeah, and I don't even think there's only, I mean, you guys are so good at the game that you'd probably get into one of those collegiate teams that actually offer a full scholarship, but I think some of them do offer full scholarships, but there's a lot of them also that just like contribute, like they don't pay it in full for you, and so you still have to come up with your own money or American payment plan or whatever you want to be able to afford it. But
a slice of American capitalism for you.
You get to bring that home to the UK too, and enjoy that. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame that there's no equivalent in EU to kind of like to have that.
I mean, if there was an equivalent for that in the UK, I'd do that instantly. But it's just not there.
I think also in the UK or in the EU in general, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like college sports in general aren't like such a big thing, right? Like in the States, like the NCAA football championship is like on ESPN, right? It's like a mainstream sports thing that people watch. Whereas I think it seems like in Europe, it's a little bit more about the professionalized leagues, where even kids out of high school are gonna like try to play.
But it's so hard to do stuff like cross country, because every country has a different uni system. Every country is going to be it's going to be a nightmare to make that work.
Maybe one day we'll get like a Manchester United esports club or something like that. I don't know.
There's Wolverhampton Esports.
Oh right,
sure.
I've heard of that.
There's PSG as well, right? And Schalke.
Yeah.
PSG sponsors like
LGD
and Schalke.
Yeah, LGD, right?
Yeah, that's pretty funny, to be honest. So
they have esports teams, but I don't know how well they do. I'm pretty sure.
I think there was a thing,
were pretty good. PSG talent are good.
I think in Sweden they had like a FIFA kind of like league. We are going so off topic, but the Swedish football clubs, I think they would pick up like the FIFA players, like the FIFA esports players for their own clubs. So like and I don't know if they'd actually play with the team.
I think this is a thing in the UK as well. I'm not completely sure, but FIFA's way bigger in the UK.
FIFA's huge, right? Yeah, people love it.
It's massive.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really a big esports scene or like streaming scene. To bring it
Bring it back, Jake. Bring it back.
Overwatch, and talking about other tournaments in the calendar year besides OWCS. I wanted to bring the conversation to the Esports World Cup for you guys. Get your thoughts, your experience at the event, overall, what you thought, and then I guess let me first ask you that before I take it to like hero bans and the format. Just like what tell the fans about your experience at Esports World Cup this year.
Go on, Jamie.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's just another international tournament, right? Like it was fun to play against the Korean teams again. It was it was fun to go stay in a really nice hotel. What can I say? I'm always down for more international tournaments to play against teams you don't normally get to play against. That's the main thing for me, I think.
How do you? Yeah, sorry, go on.
I'm a slightly. I mean, obviously it was really fun, but one of my big gripes with it was that everyone was saying like this is the biggest tournament of the year.
Oh yeah.
When I think unless you were a top 3 team, I don't think it really was in terms of money, because if you get knocked out in quarterfinals, you get only slightly more than you do for winning a regional tournament.
I don't know if this is gonna work, so let's try it. Okay, there we go. So yeah,
look at the production here.
Look at this guy.
Solomon is not here.
5th to 8th.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll leave it here.
But yeah, like we get 30,000 for winning the monthly OWCS tournament, and we get 40,000 for coming 5th to 8th. Like it wasn't this massive tournament that is funding our whole career for the year. It was really fun, and it's great to have an international tournament. I personally hated hero bans.
Yeah, you guys would be like probably the most. That's what I wanted to ask about next. So just go on. Like, tell me why you hated hero bans. Tell me, Mark. I've been a proponent of it.
I just hated when people ban Lucio. It was miserable.
People banning May and Sim made me want to just uninstall. Honestly, it's so boring. You just, especially at the beginning before they made it so hero bans would be before roster lock.
Sure, yeah, they could like
when we were scrimming that
to play Sim, and then you can't play Sim.
Yeah, I'm in. It's a Sim map, and it's like, oh well, Sim's been banned, so now I've got to figure out some other random shit to do. I don't know. Like I have no clue what I can do, and the ban. I hated the bans so much. Hate them.
All right, more production value. I'm gonna bring up the bans here, so we can just take a look.
Close to the sun, Johnny.
Okay. So in first playoffs, we're playing GD. Obviously, there was a group stage too, but GD they banned Reinhardt, they banned
Reinhardt
Symmetra, Bap, Winston, and then
they never banned Lucio. I got away with it.
But against Sela Division, they banned Kiriko, Reinhardt, Lucio, Brig, Lifeweaver.
Lifeweaver, man. Oh no.
So
banned my pocket pick.
Yeah, they kind of knew what your strengths were to some extent.
Yeah.
And they kind of dealt with that. So it's been actually really interesting because we did 3 interviews with the North American teams, of course, and they all loved it. They were like, "We want to see this in OWCS." And then we talked to you guys, and you gotta understand it from both sides. Here,
I mean,
so
obviously, it's just bad for us.
Yeah.
I think Chris really liked the system.
Yeah, he does.
And he thought it was great for the scene, but like personally, I just hated it. I think it's adding more complexity in a game that is already so complex for viewers, and it's so hard to understand why teams are picking comps and what is going on. If you just add like one more level to that, makes the barrier of entry to understand esports like so high. We barely even understand why we're banning stuff, right? How are casters or anyone watching going to understand why teams are doing what they're doing? Like, it was just beyond me. But
my thought was actually that it kind of simplifies the game. Maybe this is like a hot take, but because normally you're like, you can pick any hero, so like the reasons behind your picks are so complicated. Like, we're playing the Sim here because we think they're gonna play Widow, and we're gonna teleport on her. And then when they go far, we'll be doing this. And then you've got all these like layers to the strategy, and you've thought out all the possible responses, and so you're executing on like a small number of things because you've already determined all the other things don't work, or that this is the best thing. And that's really hard to understand because it's like, why are they doing this one thing? Why don't they go hit scan here when there's a far? Like they should play hit scan. It's like, oh, it turns out there's some other problem with that happens down the line that's for me, that's super hard to explain to people or super hard to
Maybe
relate.
that's true. Yeah, maybe.
But when you ban heroes, it's like no one really has that level of depth. It's like, oh crap, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. Let's play dive. Like, all right, I'm on Lucio.
No one
like,
really knows what's going on. Yeah.
So I thought it
it's true.
simplified the
It's
game in that
yeah.
sense. Like no one
can
is
see that.
perfect anymore when you have hero bans in, where people are trying to push the game to perfection in the current, as it's been in for years, right? In Overwatch, it's like, what's the perfect comp this meta? What's the perfect way to play that comp? What is every ult trade is like A, B, C, D. Always have this skill for that ultimate, or be in this position for that ultimate. Versus hero bans, I thought it was much more chaotic and like lower level in the sense of like, yeah, teams aren't playing as well because they're not spamming the same comp for
it would be
a month
like,
straight.
oh, we play rush here because we've banned Pharah, and the one rush counter is gone. So that's why
I did think in the tournament for you guys there were some cool moments. Like I think a team banned Lucio against you guys on circuit, and you just played the Mei Sim comp with the Brig instead. And I thought that was really cool because as I was watching, I was like, oh, they banned Lucio, but I think this is maybe you can just play the sim, like you just teleport around with the sim and it still works, like even without the speed as you would normally want to.
Yeah.
So I thought there were some cool moments in it. I'm still hopeful to see it, but I understand for you guys being a team with like such a strong identity. Obviously, it's I think there's also other ways the system could be that could make it less less extreme, less powerful in terms of how much impact the bans have.
Yeah, I suppose there is an argument as well. You want to see players play their best heroes, and hero bans to some degree, they're really good for making OP heroes unavailable. Like if a hero is, very overpowered, then, hero bans is a way for us to see some different kind of like compositions and different variations. But if FunnyAstro is in the game, I want to see FunnyAstro and Lucio. Like, there's a couple of other picks I also like singing on. But I guess my point is that, like, if Hadi, I don't want to see Reinhardt get banned. When Hadi's in the game, I don't want to see Reinhardt get banned. And so I think there is that kind of thing. Like, if Proper is playing the game, like, yeah, maybe I probably want to see him on Genji or Tracer. Like, I don't want to see him have to flex over and, like, play different picks. But that's where a hero pool comes in. That's where you're good at multiple different heroes, right? But some people have their signature heroes, Shu, Ana, stuff like that, right? So I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I can kind of see it, how there's good and bad to it.
I just think it's way more fun, like when the highest level possible is able to be on display, because I think the bans, like Jake said, like it does actually lower the level a little bit, which might make it easier to digest in some cases. But I don't know. I don't think it's fun when you're having to put me on Ana to fix something instead of watching us be able to figure out how to beat a Korean team on, Rhine Sim. I think that has got to be way less enjoyable than watching me on Ana. As much fun as I did have playing Ana, but it can't have been that fun to watch me just running it down on Ana.
Yeah, I think my pretty basic stance is just that I think people don't enjoy seeing the same comps over and over, and so hero bans is a way for us to not see mirror matchups. But I'm pretty basic about that.
I think in general, over this year, the dev team has been way faster on nerfing heroes when they've been OP. Like when Marika's OP, it's like a hotfix patch. It's not waiting for the next patch to see if we can tune it down. They've been nerfing things way faster, so we don't. I mean, if the dev team keeps doing that, then we don't need fans to ban out the broken heroes.
They've been really good at it all year. We don't.
Until Juno came out, they were great at it.
Well, one miss is okay. Okay.
I submit to FunnyAstro that he does not play Lucio this meta, so I submit for consideration.
I found another hero with a speed boost that I can play.
I think in this meta you might play more Lucio with hero fans.
So the patch is already going to be out, but we're recording this on Monday, and they did. So we're talking about adjusting to Juno, balancing Juno. So they did nerf Juno in the season 13 patch. And now they've announced on Monday that there will be some kind of like balance patch coming out again tomorrow, which is 2 weeks after, right? So like you say, they are being proactive about it. Now, when this episode is released, we'll probably already know what the change is. It could be big, could be small. We don't know yet. But I think most people who don't want this meta at Stockholm are kind of hoping for some bigger Juno big changes. And so we'll have to see what the patch is, but you're right, they're being proactive. They're trying to make changes. I mean, they changed Sombra 1 week after they reworked her because they quickly recognized that.
And it's great. Like, it's just like you can't really argue that it's a bad thing. They're just changing the game so much faster, fixing problems instantly.
Things are allowed to be really good or really bad, but for a little bit, like as long as it's not for months on end. Like if there's a week where Junkrat is the best hero in the game, sure, you're probably not having the most fun. But it's
for
not
yourself, bro.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not the end of the world, you know. It's a week.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when
It's
they
not
leave
goats.
it for months
it's not
on
a year
end,
of goats.
Yeah, exactly.
that's when
Everyone
that's
still
when I
has
think
it in
people
their
get bored
heads.
watching.
Yeah.
You know, that's when I get bored watching, at least. You know, when it's just endlessly the same thing. That's when I find it boring to watch. But if it's just one stage is one comp, one stage is another. For me personally, maybe it's not a popular opinion, but I think that's fine. Like, I think it's really fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I've reached that point already. All right, before we get to Stockholm, I hesitate to go this direction. We haven't planned to go this direction, but they did release the 6 versus 6 blogs about playtesting and stuff like that. Is that something you're looking forward to at all? Do you think it's a meme, or are you looking forward to play 6 versus 6 arcade test again?
No. Kind of like 5v5. I think it's so much easier to play, so much easier to watch. It's just, yeah. 6v6, I've gone back and I've like watched old VODs from my POV, and I'm just like, how could I tell what was going on here? how did I even understand like what was happening on my screen? The game was crazy in 6v6. I think anyone who like actually watches the old VODs and looks at it can't say they want that back. Like the double shield stuff, and yeah, there were so many cheesy, ridiculous comps over time.
What about you, Backbone?
I'm gonna go the opposite way. I'm a 6v6 head. I gotta say I'm not optimistic or even thinking that they should bring it back at this point. I've kind of accepted that that game is dead and gone. But I enjoyed Overwatch 1 so much more than I've ever enjoyed Overwatch 2 actually. Like the 6v6 in Overwatch 1, like, you know, maybe Astro's right. Maybe it's because I wasn't good enough. I was a little, you know, contenders player at the time. I wasn't that good, but I enjoyed that game so much more actually. Like, I think it was a fairly popular opinion at the beginning of Overwatch 2 in the alpha as well. I mean, there was stories about certain players wanting to retire because they hated the 5v5 so much. I don't know if you remember that.
A couple of them did, probably.
Well, yeah. But I don't know. I think the 6v6 that Overwatch was a better game than, you know, Overwatch is now. But I'm so over it at this point. You know, like I can't. I don't want to put hope. Hope is a killer. If it ends up coming and it's good, yay.
Just give up hope.
It would be funny if like every 3 or 4 years they just swap it between 5v5 and 6v6.
Yeah, like, all right, guys,
just to keep the
ready
game
for
fresh,
a couple of
just
years?
like, yeah.
Let's go 7v7
I feel like at
this
this
year.
point, just give up on it. It's just not worth it anymore. Like, it's been so long. Like, you had your chance for 6v6. Like, it I don't know.
My take is that they're literally just trying to get people back into Overwatch. Like, they're just trying to give people a reason to come back and, you know, try the game. And like, hey, come, we brought 6v6 back. Come back. Stop playing Deadlock. Stop playing Marvel Rivals. Come back. You know, try our new 6v6 mode. And then they'll be like, hold on, we're working on it. And, you know, try 5v5 while we're working on the 6v6 stuff. So
it's 5v5 when Valorant came out, right? So
no, well, Valorant came out in 2020 during COVID.
Yeah, Valorant came out before.
Yeah. So we were doing like hero pools during COVID.
We were just getting Echo out.
Maybe that's when they decided.
Yeah, we got Echo.
Maybe they.
Yeah.
And then
we had like Echo, and then you're forgetting the
Paris.
2 years of no significant events of any kind for the game. That's you like forget that time happened, but
2 years of no balance.
That's what I polish with
chilling.
it, because when people talk about 6v6, they're like, oh, double shield, so annoying. But they didn't change the game for 2 years. Any patch they left it on for 2 years would have been annoying. Like,
I think Double Shield was one of the most
Double Shield was a
things of
bad
all
one,
time in the game. The old Orisa halt is singularly the worst thing to ever be in the game. I'm sorry, but if you don't play Tracer, it's like the worst thing you've ever experienced on DPS.
I'm not protecting Double Shield. I'm just saying, if they left it on anything for like 2 years with no changes, people would have been upset.
My take is that even the comps people think back and they're like, that was such a great comp, is actually like messed up. Like Winston Diva, if you like played it really well, is actually screwed up. Like what the Winston can do to you with the Diva right behind him at all times. And like, good luck playing Ana. Like, I hope you have teammates who help you, because you are defenseless. You will die.
Yeah. It was pretty egregious.
5v5er.
You said old halt, and I just get like PTSD. Like sitting in comms like every 5 seconds, pulling. I'm pulling. I hate.
I'm dead.
I have PTSD from pulling on Orisa all
Pulled
game.
into a stun that I cannot dodge. Great, insta dead stun. Great. Just running back, guys.
Yeah.
Just don't get pulled.
Just don't get pulled. My bad.
You were a pro at the time. You should know this.
I'm excited about the roll lock, like, because the triple tank, triple support. I'm never gonna be convinced that that's gonna work out again. Like the extremes are just so bad with like the 3 heroes in one role. Like I don't think you can realistically balance that and have a good game in that way. But the 2-2, we'll give it a go. People will have fun. The off tanks will come back, and then
it a go.
Okay, when we want to have it a go, we'll just play 5 vs 5. But I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't think 6 vs 6 is gonna ever become the primary mode again. I think it'll be something they bring back for fun, and people can play it if they want to. And
try to get people back to the game.
They'll try to incentivize tanks.
You guys are playing Junkenstein's Lab. Now that's a game that goes crazy.
That's a game mode.
That goes hard.
That's a good game mode.
I played one game of it. It was actually quite fun.
Yeah,
I did actually enjoy
really
it.
good. I think it's like the best arcade they've done.
Yeah, 100%. I think actually.
Yeah, like the fire strike making the Torb lava is so good.
I play it every day, Jake. I'm completing it for the title. I'm getting the title.
I'm deadlocked in, so I'm.
You streamed a little deadlock the other day. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot. I'm like top 100 or something.
Oh boy,
dude. The game's addictive.
Coming back as a pro player.
It's a new. No. I'm just gonna cast. I'm just preparing to cast.
There you go.
I'm just doing my Overwatch career arc in fast motion, Get good at the game and then retire and cast. But before I ever
be that higher rank than the people you're casting just shit.
Yeah, they're like, nah, these guys kind of suck. Actually, this is a bad build. Like,
I played ranked against him earlier. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah. This guy always throws my ranked games. There's no surprise he lost his match.
That's a little teaser for you. Looking forward to see that arc, Jake. Let's pivot to Stockholm before we wrap up the interview here. How are you guys preparing for the event? You said you're not having a boot camp. Obviously, you're in EMEA already here. Are there any teams in particular you're preparing for? How about like the balance, the meta? Like, is it?
I want to know about the NA rivalry. We got NA teams talking mad smack about how NA is caught up and about to dominate EU. They're gonna change what happened in Dallas.
I think that's putting out a few words in their mouth.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
That word on the street, eh?
That's what I'm saying.
Watch that interview back and it'll just be them saying they can beat us.
Yeah, they think they can beat you. Is that reasonable? I mean, you guys won in Dallas. Like, what should we expect?
Like, ENCE were better than Toronto in this Orisa mirror. I thought.
Okay.
Heard. You talking about like in scrims this patch? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
NA, if it is this Orisa meta again, the exact same one, which I don't think it will be, because I think it's already kind of changing before.
There's been some patch adjustment. And who knows what the
but
next patch will be.
If it was this one, there's no way any team in the West is better than us. It's actually just, I don't know. I don't see it. I just don't.
Well, you're arguably playing what was the best team on that meta end. You're playing Nightmare first, who were really strong in the Orisa kind of composition. Have you like scouted them at all, like any reasonably, or do you just like go in kind of blind? It's too far away, no need like studying or? Well, that's fair enough.
Scrim them.
I think they were decent, but
they're okay.
It's a high ping scrim, so it's kind of Mickey Mouse,
It's a high ping scrim, and I don't know about you, Astro, but the entire time in the scrim, it's just like I've not got the vibe that this is a team I'm scared to play. Like they might have even won the scrim. I don't even remember. But it's a high ping scrim. Like it's a bit Mickey Mouse, and I'm looking at what they're doing. It's like, I'm just not scared of this actually. I can't wait for us to play the game and lose, and for this to get clipped and tweeted at me, because that just happens every single time I say anything.
I'll put it in the title. Don't worry.
I appreciate you putting it out there. I'm curious though, when you guys play the high ping scrims, do you do like map on? Like NAE.
I think we just do minimum latency. Play out on 120
minimum latency, and you just tank the cancer. That's what you do.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not particularly fun, but
we've actually got such a blessed bracket.
This is kind of a rough meta, I think, for the high ping compared to some other metas where I think like there's a lot of like instant skill interactions, or like Juno or something where you just get like either you get one hit and killed, or you get like you never die and you escape everything.
None of the movement works on ping. Like everything just bugs out and lags.
Enter on ping. Oh my god.
Oh god, I can't imagine trying to push people around on ping sounds.
So like you're looking at someone, you try to drill them, and then suddenly you're just behind them. Like you just teleported behind them, and they're gone. Yeah, so much fun.
Yeah, they're boot camping. They're boot camping in Europe, so we'll be
Yeah,
fine.
they'll be ESC. And we'll be able to play. We'll be able to
Give them a
scrim
couple of
properly.
weeks. We'll scrim them, and then they can do their interviews again and see what they say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You commented on the bracket, Backbone. So obviously, if you beat Nightmare, you'll play Team Falcons, and then
Whoa.
Or Twisted Minds.
no, you'll play
What
Team
about
Falcons. You'll play.
What about TM?
You'll play Team Falcons in the semifinals.
TM have literally beat Team Korea.
And
Yeah.
then after
Hold on.
after you lose to Team Falcons, the bracket will flip. So you'd play probably
We'll be
either
against Dents.
After they
for
lose
the
to Team
10th for the
Falcons.
millionth
Hold on.
time.
yeah.
What do you? Who's this?
I'm just making predictions over
first
here.
map picked? How is first map picked? Do we know? Is it higher seed? Is it pre-determined? Like if you click on the eye, does it say what the map is already?
No. I mean, surely it's higher seed. Yeah. So you'd pick against
You
Nightmare.
would think
they're gonna
Johnny
pick
and I
Ilios
would know
map
the
one.
rules, but we don't. We just wait for people to tell
I
us what
don't
to
know the
say
rules.
right when we go live. So don't.
It's,
don't
it's okay. Falcons will pick Ilios map 1, but then every single escort is Western favored this tournament. Okay.
Is
So they
Dorado
only
in the
get
pool
one
with
free
the
map.
crazy elevators?
No, I
No,
think we talked about
Dorado's
that.
not in the
Dorado's not in the
pool.
pool. Yeah.
I'm so
It's
desperate
Sham-
to see the Hottie Ryan on the new Dorado, him paving the way boldly.
I think it's Shambali, Gibraltar, and Chicken Royale,
Circuit.
which is like
All
the
right,
most Western.
I gotta talk about this. You guys playing the hold the bunker on Gibraltar? I had not seen that since before Goats. When I saw that, I was like, no shot. They're in the bunker in 5v5, bro. Like, no way.
It's so cozy down there.
Yeah, so just chill, bro. We'll be fine. Like the Widow's behind us, the bar is in the front. Just don't get
No
hit.
problem.
Do not
Legend
fight the
moving.
London Spitfire Corps in a room. You will not
Yeah.
win. If we are in
Fair.
a room, you do not beat the London Spitfire Corps.
Is there any team at Stockholm you're excited to play? Like you only get to play Toronto Defiant that many times. The Korean teams, like, what is a team you're most looking forward to play?
Just the Koreans. Just want to beat them. We haven't beaten them yet this year. It'd be nice. I think it's a good time of year to beat them. Be nice.
Yeah, it's the best
If
time
we
of
beat them
year.
at this tournament, yeah. If we beat them at this
Yeah, the one
tournament,
that
no
people
one
That's
cares.
the
remember,
best
right?
one to win.
Yeah.
We've had our practice. Dallas, we got absolutely shit stomped, and then World Cup, it was a lot closer. So good trajectory for us to win this one.
World Cup, no hero bands, we win. Trust.
World Cup, no hero bands, you
Hot
win.
take. Hot take.
Trust.
That's insane, Cope. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
it is,
appreciate that Backbone is willing to drop this heinous cope on air. It's actually great. It's great content for the people. It's what they
We
deserve.
were so screwed in that one game against Satan. Like we lost 4-2, but if we won that map, which we should have, we were going to go to Dorado and we were just dead because they had like a Rhine ban or something. Like we were just dead. It
On
would not-
Dorado, you were worried about the Rhine band coming in on Dorado and really taking away the wind out of your sails.
what do you do when you can't play?
You can't play Rhine on Dorado. It's like you're lost.
no
You know,
other
like
option.
that's the old standby.
Don't even bother loading in. It's over.
Oh, what could have been? What could have been? SSG winning the Resource World Cup. I'm just gonna skip right ahead
Next year, boys, next year.
into 2025. Unless you had something more in Stockholm, Jake.
No.
No. Okay. So looking forward to 2025. Obviously, we don't know anything yet. Are you guys still motivated to play? Do you want to still compete? FunnyAstro, I know you're streaming, quite a bit. So we'll kind of like see how things turn out. But as of right now, motivation is still there to continue competing next year.
Yeah, as long as I'm getting paid. It's pretty much that simple. If I'm not getting paid, I'll probably get a real job and then just do this for fun. But obviously,
You're not gonna go pro in Deadlock or
still
anything.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Nah, I played Deadlock. It was fun. I think I'd be more likely to go pro in League. I think that's way more.
It really
I like
isn't
League
like
a lot more.
Overwatch at all. I think people have been saying Deadlock versus Overwatch, but I feel like their games are actually so different.
They're so
It's
different.
so much more like League. It's like
Yeah, it's a MOBA. It's like not
Yeah.
really the hero shooter
It's
is
a
like it's a
full-on
hero
MOBA.
shooter MOBA, but it's a MOBA.
you don't need to aim really. Like
Yeah.
the aiming isn't that crazy. But yeah, I think Overwatch is still super fun. I think with Juno coming out, it's probably the most fun I've had in a long time. because I've actually learnt a new hero and enjoyed it.
Got to just play
instead of just being miserable the whole time. But yeah, I'm still happy.
What about you, Backbone?
I don't know. I can kind of only play on this team. So it's basically if this team will have me, you know, like I'm always down to be a wacky hero specialist, but most teams aren't for that. So as long as this Cole's around and they don't hate my guts, I'm probably around because I've got nothing better to do. But
yeah,
just see what happens.
What do you guys want to be when you grow up? What's the career? You know, in 10 years, you get what is it like? Astronaut, carpenter? Like, what are we thinking?
I was. My latest one was. What I was really thinking about, I want some kind of engineer looks fun.
Okay, engineering.
Yeah.
Do not ask me. I've not thought that far ahead.
All right. We won't ask you.
As my good friend Dante once said, that's a problem for when I'm washed.
Well, it hits you fast. It hits you fast. I'll say that. Do you have anything on your wish list for next year? Like anything you'd like to see be integrated to the game, or like anything additional to come? And you know, this is purely hypothetical wish list. Like whether it be more tournaments or more, you know, esports integration into the game, something that will make life easier for you, which is not money, maybe. Because that will improve everyone's mental health and more money.
One day, everyone will manage to stream scrims,
Never
and then the
happen.
whole scene. Yeah, it's never gonna happen.
You tried.
This is the dream.
We
wish
tried
list.
it this year.
You really tried.
We tried
yeah.
it, but the problem is, it hurts yourself. You know, like when you go into scrims and you're streaming and it's a bad day of scrims and everyone feels like shit and everyone knows the stream's on, it just makes it so much worse.
And people won't speak their mind maybe as fully as they
exactly.
could.
And there's no incentive for, like, say if Hattie streams scrims, like he's gonna get the most viewers of anyone. For the people who aren't gonna farm millions of viewers and infinite money off their stream, then like why would Sparker and Jamie and the rest of us like want to stream the scrims, you know? Like it only hurts us.
Well, it still kind of helps the scene, right? Because it gives the viewers something to tune into.
It helps the scene,
and so,
but it hurts you.
It helps the scene, but it just screws your own team over.
I will
for
say,
it.
like, I mean, played competitively, I would never have streamed scrims. Like, I would be, even though I at the time had like a relatively popular stream, probably would have gotten a lot of viewers streaming scrims. I would agree. I would never want to introduce that into a competitive.
But it changes the whole good for the scene.
It's just too weird. It's like you need to be able
amazing.
to say. People should be able to say like anything, you know, like that comes to their mind. If they want to, this is bad, that's good. You made this mistake. Like at least that's my mindset. Competitively, is
you should be able to shit talk
wouldn't
as much as you want in
sacrifice
scrims. Like,
yeah.
The other team, your team, you should be able to say anything you want without like some weird third party hovering over you.
You shouldn't be thinking about it, censoring yourself.
Yeah,
it's like bad for the competitive. Like if you really love to compete, it's a very different thing than like streaming for entertainment.
That would be so cool.
Not even if you could like block out a scrim. So like maybe 2 or 3 times a week you blocked out a scrim and we're like, we're gonna stream this scrim. Everyone goes in with the intention of like, hey, we're just blocking this scrim out, and you know what, scrim ends on like a Tuesday or Thursday. Hey everybody, tune in on Tuesday, we're gonna scrim ends with comms, and like that way, because then maybe you don't get the everyday
like
grind.
You could like schedule a show match once a week. I
Yeah,
feel like that could be like a different
more
thing
like
than a scrim. It could be
like if you like frame it as a match, it'd be different. But like even then, like I think the main reason we stopped this year is because people on our team were getting mad at how people were copying what we were doing. Like we had like a comm structure of how we were doing everything, and we ended up watching. I think we ended up watching one of the peps at the beginning of the year's scrims, and they had copied our whole flow bar for bar, every single word, every single like code word we used, and everything. They copied it.
They're biting the flow like it's nothing. That's just
shameless. No innovation, no creativity, just straight plagiarism. And I mean, again, probably arguably good for the scene for a worse team to be able to like blatantly copy a good team and figure out what's good and maybe why. But it feels kind of shit when you're the team, because I think at that point we were like stomping every scrim, and then suddenly we play them and it's like, oh well, we just help them get, you know, we're still beating them because you
just help them get drastically better.
They're just suddenly like miles better, and what we've gotten stream revenue out of it for 2 of us.
For the people who aren't getting it, it's especially bad. Like
you're like,
if we pulled it, that could maybe be better. If we said that we'd pull the revenue.
Yeah, I think there's other ways to do it, like more show match style, like you say. Like if
that'd be the better way to do it.
We did a show match against ENCE every week and put money on the line.
Yeah, do a money
Just
match.
so that
That's what I
everyone
was
gets someone.
thinking.
Just money matches.
That's huge
I
in
think that'd
Call
be
of
pretty
Duty.
cool.
They do money matches and
Yeah,
stuff
like
in Call of
everyone
Duty.
put in $100 or something.
Like
and
I'd be down for that. Like up the stakes a bit, good content at the same time. Like
But the thing is, if it's one of those weeks where you're just getting 6-0 by the other person, are you really gonna go and then put $100
You're
on the
like,
line
yeah,
at the end of the week?
I'm sick this week, guys. I can't play this match.
Have you got the metal to do that where you've just been getting stumped a week and you're like, we'll show up on game day and win?
yeah, you just know you're gonna lose and then just giving them $100 for fun.
Well, you're the
question
best
is how many
team.
people would do it.
You're the best team in the region, so you can start selling scrims. We'll scrim you for money. So like, you know,
We'll sell you our
Just
scrim
scrim us.
mod.
yeah.
You
So they have a VOD. You know, they get the experience. What it's like playing SSG. You know, here's $100, or you probably need $100 each or something. Like, hey, we'll scrim you for 2 hours, and you'll get dominated, and then you'll have a VOD of it. You'll have a replay code.
It would be great. It'd be great content. Maybe if there was some sort of like pug system and we did like paid pugs,
Paid
That
pugs
would-
would be better, I think,
that would be more interesting.
because at least then you'd never
Because-
get like
Yeah, then you don't know who's
hard
gonna win
washes,
before it.
Yeah.
It's also not like actual teams that are gonna go play a match tomorrow and they played a scrim
Exactly.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just like sort of semi. It's like all the players are there, but in random combinations where.
Well,
The
that
thing
was
with
a-
pugs is that it always dies after like a week. Like
I think it's too hard to compete with the modern ranked generation. Like I grew up playing TF2 pugs because like what are you gonna do?
yeah.
Play pubs and stomp Timmy and Jimmy in a 16v16? Like
You
I
had
had like
to play
150
pugs.
kills. So the only option was pugs. But modern ranked is like it is a really good system. I mean, like obviously there's a bunch of problems with it, but like compared to the olden days where you literally just click and join a server and you play against actual random players, it's
Yeah, I
obviously
mean, there
much
were
more
some
competitive.
people who genuinely thought when the FACEIT League came around that there would be like a CSGO or CS2 FACEIT kind of thing where like individual top pros compete against each other in like a pub kind of way of doing it, and then if you were the highest rated player within the pugs, then you would get prize pool
prize,
money. Yeah.
There's a thing like that Carter did, right? Like the circus.
Circus.
That bumps up. That used to bump up like a couple times a year, but it would never last long because it's just.
It lasted a while at the start. Lasted a
Yeah,
long
but
time.
it gets to a point where it's like it's so hard
But
to
then
actually
ranked came out.
organize. Yeah,
It
yeah,
stopped
yeah.
when ranked
Actually,
came
yeah, yeah.
I
When
think
rank came out,
It works in
It's just so
Counter Strike
hard.
because Counter Strike ranked is just like it's just Kappa.
So
like,
many
in the
cheaters,
actual
right,
game.
in
Yeah, there's
CS
just a
and-
million cheaters and anti-cheat doesn't work. So you have to play on FACEIT.
Yeah, where
Like if you want
Overwatch
a proper
cheating is even if you are cheating in Overwatch, like if you're not good at all, it's like not good
You can
enough
still
to
lose,
cheat
yeah.
unless you're like spin botting, which will
Yeah.
get you banned super fast. So the cheats people can actually get away with, like wall hacking or whatever, then if you're not that good at the game, you still won't win. Like
Yeah.
even cheating.
So there was always the incentive in Counter Strike for people to like move over and download FACEIT and go for that there. But I think it's gonna be so much harder to get Overwatch people to do the same thing.
Hmm.
But something like that would be really cool for the scene. It's what I want to see next year.
I think it'd be really good if they could add in the org skins next year.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the main. I think if they added that, the amount of orgs that would be willing to even like look at the game would increase. Let alone stay and keep investing. I think it's such an easy way to do it. Like it seems like it's right there. Like it doesn't
Even
seem
if
like
it's
a
just
hard
a
thing to do.
continuation of like OWL, where it's just like
Yeah,
a
exactly.
recolor
Just like the
pack.
Overwatch League skins.
It's
like
just
it doesn't
having
have
a
to be
recolor
anything
pack of like,
complicated.
let's
Yeah.
say the teams who qualify to like the first tournament get a recolor pack, like so it's the top 8 teams in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know what it takes in terms of dev time and stuff, but I agree that's like I think I've heard from a lot of orgs and folks on many teams like that would be a key driver for the scene to grow and be sustainable for orgs, and so actually there'd be more teams like you guys that get an org that supports you and has resources. You can be dedicated to the game full time or close to full time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the start of the year, even with EWC having a huge prize pool, and we didn't know what the prize pool was going into the year, but it was a pretty toxic mindset where everyone just said like, oh, there's this giant tournament with EWC, and everyone's just planning for that, and after that, kind of like, who cares? Like the consistent monthly income from an org is more sustainable and promotes the scene better than a giant prize pool would. So yes, the prize money is nice, right? But you'd much rather have a consistent salary from an organization that supports you, supports your brand, and you as players on the team, right? So you'd much rather want the org to feel invested in the scene and be encouraged to take part in the scene rather than just having giant prize pools.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Crazy Raccoons love the giant prize pool.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was sat at home with his 50k MVP check, thinking Esports World Cup was great. Perfect for the scene. Wouldn't
So the
change a thing.
victors go the spoils.
Yeah.
There you go. That's two teams. That's two teams who are reaping the rewards of giant prize pools. But for the most part, you know, you want the orgs to be invested in like the top 8 or the top 12, right? So that's
you want more than just two teams.
Exactly. And
Even
of
for
an
the top 2
ecosystem
teams,
up.
I think they don't. It's not that interesting if there's like 2 relevant teams. At least there's, you know, like the lands have been pretty.
Oh, Jake's audio
Mic
cut out
is
there.
gone.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Jake's mic. Oh, Dick's mic just. Oh no, where's Solomon when you need Solomon? I didn't touch anything, so I have no idea what happened. I clicked refresh on your microphone, Jake. Did that help? Oh, now I can hear you.
All right. I
just-
bumped my mic cord, so it's on me.
Genius.
It's
Oh,
on me.
okay. All right. That wasn't even on me or
No,
Could've been someone,
You
so.
don't blame yourself. Actually, wait, you can blame yourself if you want to, though, Loki. Like just for no
I'm
reason.
the producer. I'll take blame. I'm you know, Plat Chat representative. I'll take blame for that. But all right, I think we even bumped up against time. Took slightly more of your time than we initially asked for. So thank you for taking part in these interviews, Jake. Any final questions?
Nothing, guys. Just thanks for taking the time. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in Stockholm. It's always fun to get the whole community together in person. I think that's always kind of the best part of esports.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm looking
Thanks for
forward to
having
it.
us.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Backbone.
thank
Thank you, FunnyAstro. All right, take care.